Can I retire at 48? Part 2. A subscriber, posted a comment, said, what happens if you sold the real estate and put it into an investments account because the real estate was generating about 5.6? And I said, that's actually a good idea. So let's try that. I do want to see about that, selling the real estate, the investment, the rental property, and turn around and using that as an investment, just basic good old fashioned U.S. stocks, and see how that changes things. I thought that'd be pretty interesting. So let's dive into this. And again, this is part 2. If you're not familiar with the first one, just type in retire at 48 and you'll see. So remember, we're going back to Scott and Melissa are 45 years old. And if we look at the details, we got their primary home at 289, then the rental property at 300,000. So on that rental property, they're getting, if we go to profile, let me open it. Let me make this a little bit bigger because I know there's a couple of people out there saying, would you make it bigger, Josh? It's all good. So we're going to go to our property right there. There it is. So, and it's our investment property at $300,000, and the monthly rental income is $1,300. All right. So it's getting $1,300 a month in rental income times 12. And that gives us $15,600. And we got a vacancy rate that's all fully occupied. So we're getting $15,600, but we're losing $5,000 for property tax and insurance. And I'm just using that as a guesstimate. All right. So again, $1,300 a month rental income. We're going to increase it by 3% a year, but we're losing a third of that for annual property tax and insurance. So we're netting minus 5,000. We're netting $10,600 a year on $300,000. And it gives us, basically a 3 to 5% capitalization rate, depending on how you look at it. I mean, you got to look at the capitalization rate now and in the future. In the future, it gets better because I'm increasing the annual rent increase by 3%, which is better than the actual the expenditures that these guys are paying. Not much, but 20, 30 years from now, it goes from right now we're at 3.5% capitalization rate. And I use capitalization rate. It's probably not the true way to use it for real estate investors, but I use it as how much am I generating net of how much is it worth. So I kind of look at it, for me, it's almost like a dividend rate. So if I'm generating 3.5% off my $300,000 property, how much could I use and turn that into an investment that I could use? Maybe it will be better, maybe it will be worse. I don't know. But that's kind of what we're saying. For a capitalization rate, it's paying me $10,000 a year on a $300,000 property. If I had a $300,000 investment account, it'd pay me $6,000 a year for dividends. All right. So that's kind of the way I'm looking at it. All right. So now what we're going to do then is we're going to sell this guy, and we're just going to say current value is 0. All right. So we'll just zero this out. Current value is 0, and we're going to save. We'll see if it lets us do that. Actually, I want to delete. I want to go down just a tad. It's a little bit too big for me. There we go. All right, so we got current value 0. So now we only have $289,000 in property, but I do want to do my investment portfolio, and I want to, let's just see. We want to add an account. So let's go to add account, and we're going to do an investment account, and we're going to say, add holding. We got $300,000, and this time we'll do small cap stocks. NASX, Vanguard small cap, just for simplicity, because we want to diversify. 300,000 divided by 77.52 gives us 3,870 shares. 3,870 shares, $300,000. And so now my portfolio consists of 569 in the S&P 500 and 300,000 in the small cap index fund of Vanguard, the Russell 2000. That's all we've done. Now, actually, something? I want to sell this because we're going to pay some commissions on that. So let's say it's a $3,000. We pay 5% commission. So it's going to be $15,000. So we're going to say it's $285,000 divided by 77.52, 3675, because we're not going to get 3675. Bear with me just a second. I'm thinking about this. Yeah. All right. Because we're not going to get a full dollar for dollar. I mean, we're going to have to pay somebody to sell the property. So we're going to say there's a 15% or 5% commission, which is $15,000. Now that makes sense. So far, so good. So now let's go to retirement. And if you recall yesterday when I did this, our retirement analysis, now it's starting to look pretty good. Now, why is that? because I'm down at 3,500. So we wanted $4,000 a month in income, going off what Scott told me. Now we're starting to look pretty good. But we also have him retiring at 50. I want him to retire at 48. So that's what we want. That's right, because we had him working an extra 2 years. And that's still pretty good. That is still pretty good. We have him retiring at 48, which is what he wanted to do. And we have a $4,000 monthly income stream, which is what he wanted. And if I can get that's, I'm pretty keen on that. So let's just look at the cash flows here. That looks pretty good to me. So whoever brought that to my attention, good job, man. That's pretty good. So cash flows, we got no income. Our other inflows are 15,000. I can't remember where that's coming from. We got to get rid of rental. That's what it is. We got to get rid of rental income. We still got rental income showing there. We got to get rid of that. So we want to go to profile. Then we want to go to income. Was it right here? Income's on rental income, pension income. Okay, no, we want to go to net worth. All right, so this is good. Now that is probably going to change stuff quite a bit. We want to go to investment property, and we got to get rid of this income right there. Okay, all right. So don't celebrate yet, Scott. That's for sure. And then of course we're going to get rid of this right here. I could just get rid of the whole thing, but I want to keep in there for future reference in case we need. All right, so now we got no 5,000 a month going out. We got no 15,000 coming in. So let's go back to retirement and see what we're looking at. I bet it's worse than 71%. Yeah, 42%. Okay. So that is actually worse. All right, so remember the current plan has him working until he's 50, and we have a 56% chance of it working until he's 50. This one has him retiring this year and only has a 42% success rate. But I'm just curious on confidence. And this is a proposed plan. The median runs out of money right about there, which is age 84. It's not too shabby still, though. That's still not bad. All right, so I mean doesn't make me comfortable enough, but we're getting someplace here. That's for sure. So proposed. All right, proposed plans has $3 million less than current plans, simply because he runs out of money. I don't pay a whole lot of mind to that actually. Retirement income is all based on withdrawing from your accounts. And then if I'm not mistaken, we're going to run out of money up in here. And so we're relying solely on Social Security. Yeah, let's see if we do optimal strategy, Social Security, asset allocation. Remember, I changed this to most aggressive, and that changed things quite a bit, which was kind of odd to me because we are pretty aggressive as it is now. But I guess what it is they're going to diversify it too. So now, well, that's not bad. So now with a diversified portfolio of stocks, and let's go to investment and see what the proposed one is. Proposed plan is growth, and we want most aggressive. So let's see what the proposed plan most aggressive is. Now they even still have stocks. They still got 23%, 24% international equities, 11% emerging markets, and both of those get a higher rates of return in my system than do U.S. equities, but not much. I mean, 8%, 7.5%, and then U.S. equities are 7.5 to 8.5% emerging markets, 8% international, 8% for small caps, and 7.5. So not a huge difference here. But here we got all U.S. equities. So just the factor diversified, annual return 8.5. So no, that's about the same. That's interesting, man. Let's just real quick make sure that's in a okay, good taxable account. All right, so let's go to retirement again. That's a pretty significant change. I don't know if I believe that actually. Let's just hit this current allocation again. That just seems odd to me. That has such a significant change just by having exposure to international equities. It jump up from 42 to 56. I mean, that's a 20% increase. Now I get it; it's diversified more, but it's still the same rate of return, 8.5%. expected rate of return, and just a little bit different standard deviation. I mean, 14 to 15, I think it's 16 on this one standard deviation, and it's 14 on the current one. So not a huge change in standard deviation. So yeah, that's odd to me. What is that? That's weird. All right. Either way, though, 42% is what we're looking at, which is still better than the real estate. And the reason for that is just look at cash flow. So he doesn't have any. He doesn't have any other inflows, no rental income, all right, no sale, blah, blah, blah. His cash flows consist solely of withdrawals from his account. And you can see he's got nothing, no salary, no self-employment, no Social Security. So let's just watch where his accounts are coming from. So he's taxable account 402, then 373. So his 401k is still growing, which is good. And now he will start taking distributions from his 401k right there at 57 years old. Now, remember, a lot of people think, oh, he can take it tax-free or a penalty-free because he's over 55. No, you can't. If you separate from service before you're 55, you can't take a penalty-free distribution from your 401k. You have to still be at the same employer in which your 401k is to get a penalty-free distribution from your 401k. But we're burning through our taxable income or taxable accounts, and watch, his tax is going to be minimal to, if any at all. Yeah, so he got a little bit of state tax, but no federal tax. In fact, I even challenge that to some degree, but no federal tax. Actually, what state do we got him living in? I forgot. Bear with me just a second. So let's see what state we got old Scott and Melissa living in Georgia. Oh, he will have tax. Let's just change over to Tennessee real quick because Tennessee has no income tax. I'm just curious to see what it looks like differently. Hope this is interesting to you. See, I like this stuff, and you might not. I'm sure if you don't, you've already canceled out, but let's just see what we're looking at for income tax living in Tennessee. And it raises the probability of success a little bit more because I assume that means the taxes are gone. Yeah, because he lives in Tennessee. All right, so if you live in a tax-free state, Scott, it gives you better. You got no tax, essentially, until you hit 58 when you start taking pretty big distributions from your 401k. Your expenses, $4,000 a month. And again, your expenses consist of your living expenses plus your housing and health care. And housing is going to be $3,000 a year in property tax and $1,000 a year in homeowners. Let's just go look at the tax code real quick to get a gauge of what we're looking at here. And we're going to go to details, and you can see there's no tax between now and there. Someone had posted if you should start doing Roth conversions. Yeah, man, that'd be a tough one to think. We can try it. Let's just go to details real quick. And as you can see, in 2019, his total income is from, you know what I needed to do? I needed to go back and change the profile and have a cost basis of 0. It won't change anything because he doesn't have any income to pay tax on, but let's just go over and change this to a cost basis of, well, let me just show you something real quick. I want to show this to you because this is crucial to understand. All right, so go to this 1040. This is 2019. He's got $51,000 capital gain, $58,000 of AGI. And in fact, he's got $34,000 of supposed taxable income, as you can see here. So $34,000 of taxable income, but he pays no tax. Oops. His line 44, his tax is 0. Why? Because $34,000 of taxable income puts in the 12% tax bracket, which means these capital gains are tax-free anyway, so it really won't change anything. I won't go back to doing that. But if we go back to 2027, still got $40,000 of capital gain. Yep, and his taxes, let's see here. Itemized deductions, subtract, so $10,000 taxable income, $15,000, and still no tax. All right, so 2000, so he's not paying any tax at all for the next 10 years. Let's go to 2030. That will be exhausted. The capital gain is gone because that taxable account is gone. It's got $87,000 of IRA 401k distributions, $8,400 because he has a pension that kicks in when he's 58, which is just an odd year. $96,000 of total income. Now we're not in the Trump tax bill anymore, so he does have a smaller standard deduction, but he does get an exemption for he and his wife, Melissa, and now he pays $8,969 of taxes. I tell you what, let's try something here real quick. We're going to try, we're going to go to profiles, what we want to do. So because some guy actually commented, is it better to do Roth conversions? It might be. I think we do that under savings, my friend. So we're going to go add savings. Nope. we want to go to income. And we're going to do distributions for the next 10 years. All right, so right here, and we're going to distribute $40,000 of Roth IRAs. We're going to convert to Roth, and we're going to do it for from 2019 to 2029. Yeah, let's see how that works, because that's a good comment that the guy said in the notes there. All right, let's see what we got now. So now we're going to go back to retirement and look at cash flows. Doesn't change much on his proposal. Well, it did. It went to 45 to 48. Income flows, other inflows, expenses. Let's see. Taxes. Yeah, federal taxes right there. So income flows are nothing because, again, the Roth conversion is not an income flow. Expenses, so he's still having a net deficit because he has no money coming in. So he's got to sell stuff from his IRA, from his taxable account. And invested asset, that should show a, let's see, I want to go to accounts. So it should, Roth IRA, $40,000 a year. So he's seen his traditional and 401k start dropping. All right, so now he's wiped out here, and his IRA is nice. His 401k is still pretty high. Maybe we should do more than $40,000 a year. So let's go back to taxes though. So why has he got $2,034 in taxes? And I think I know the reason why. So what we want to do is we're going to look at the taxes here. Yes, $51,000 of capital gains, $40,000 of IRA distributions, which means he has $74,000 of taxable income. And that puts him in the 12% bracket. So he's still not paying taxes on capital gain, but he is still paying tax on his $40,000 of distributions. I bet that's going to change here in a couple of years. Let's go to 2023. No, he's still only paying $1,900 in tax, and that's just on the IRA distribution. So that's still pretty effective there. All right, let's go back to the tax bracket. Yeah, look at that. So we still, 2.5. All right, so what I want to do here is I want to change something around. I want to go, let's do, I tell you what, let's do a couple things. We're going to change the distribution, which is under savings. No, it's under income. We're going to change the 401k. Let's do $60,000 a year. All right, and we're going to save that. And now what we're going to do is we're going to go back and change the net worth to reflect his $300,000 cost basis on his investment account, the small cap stocks, because we don't want to pay more in taxes than we have to. So we're going to hit 300,000 cost basis, or was it 280? We'll just say 285,000. All right, so this is what I do, my friends. When I'm doing plans, I just start messing around like this. And now we're going to go with hit save there, taxable account, and you have no cash in there. Make sure I hit save there because sometimes the system will give you a bug with time check. It's okay, good. We're still good. Expenses. So now we're going to go back to retirement. So what I've done here, still 48. I said at the end of the day, we're going to convert $60,000 a year from his 401k to a Roth because his tax bracket is nothing for the next 10 years. But we don't want to pay capital, put that in where he's converting so much that he has to pay capital gain tax on his mutual funds that he's selling essentially. So we want to include the real cost basis, which in this case is 100% of the value. So he has $285,000 of mutual funds. He also has $285,000 in cost basis, which means that when he sells it, there's not much gain there at all. Now, a couple of years, there'll be a little bit of a gain because it's giving him an 8% year-over-year rate of return, but it won't be. But you have to adjust cost basis. That's huge, or else you'd be overestimating the amount of taxes he'd have to pay. Now, he's still going to have to pay tax because he has, if nothing else, he has $60,000 of IRA distributions, which is taxed as ordinary income because we're moving it to the Roth. So let me show what I'm talking about here. And there's a tax payment. Yeah, $60,000. Yeah, so because he's raising our $60,000 of IRA or Roth conversions is causing him $4,000 a year. Ooh, but watch. Oh man, but look at that. Let's go. Ooh, see all these zeros down here? I love it. That's what we want to see. We want to see a bunch of zeros down there. Yeah. All right. So now essentially what we've done is we're paying 5.6% now to avoid any tax in the future. Now, it does have a big hit at 59. We'll have to see why that is and what year is that. That's in I can't tell. It's just when he's 59 years old. So I'm not sure what year that is, but we'll see. So why has he got that big hit? But anyway, look at that. So now he's got no tax from 64 on. He pays nothing. So let's see here. Where do I want to go? Go to distributions. No, I want to go to cash flows. All right, so let's see what we got. Why has he got that big tax at 59 years old? Let's take a look. That is 2029. You got big tax payment there. Why? So let's go see in 2029. We're going to go to taxes. We're going to hit details, get our 1040, and we're going to go to 2029. $7,800 of IRA distributions, $8,400 of pension. Total taxable income or total AGI is $8,600. And of which he pays taxable $59,000 of taxable income, $7,716 in tax due. So let's go to 2000. Was it 29 or 30? Let's go to 30. Let's see. And it's still only $8,000. Maybe it's 28. All right. Yeah. So according to the tax return, we don't have that same tax hit at 14. What are we missing here? So tax. Oops, I keep doing that. We want to go to cash flows. Oh, maybe the 10% penalty. I bet that's what it is because he's still under, let's see, tax. Where's the big tax at right there? Maybe it's a 10% penalty because he's no longer converting. I bet that's what it is. So he still has to, yeah, I bet. So what's happening here is because the conversions, there's no penalty on a conversion. Here he's taking money out. It's causing him to pay a penalty for the 10% because he's under the age of 59 and a half. It's the only thing I can surmise. I don't know what else. 2029. He's saying he's got a tax payment of $13,000. Why? So let's just go to taxes. 2000. Yeah, he got 99.34 there. So I'm not sure what that is. So I'm not sure. Well, I just got to look at the taxing again. Is it because because you don't see a penalty on the first page of the 1040? Yeah, I don't know. I'm at a loss here. That doesn't make sense to me. Why they got the one thing on that 2029, $7,800, and we'll go to 2030. And frankly, all I care about is what the 1040 says. So taxable income is tax is $8,043. I guess if you had a penalty of 10% on $81,000, that's the only thing I could think is you have a penalty of 10% on that amount of money. Because he's no longer over the age of 59. He's no longer taking Roth conversions out. Instead, he's pulling out for income stream, which would make that all taxable and a 10% penalty. That's the only thing. Yeah, I guess that makes sense. So in 2029, let's go back to here. He's got $78,000 of IRA distributions, all of which go into his income. And so he'll pay 10% penalty on, yeah, there we go. So 10% penalty on that is $7,000 plus his taxable amount of $7,700. I give him roughly a $14,000 taxes. And I think that's exactly what we got. Roughly $14,000 or so. Let's take a look. Tax. Where's your tax payment? Tax payment. 13,000. Yeah, well, that's about as close. I think that makes sense. All right, now he's over 59 and a half, so he no longer has a penalty. So I'm just curious. While we're messing around here, I'm going to go and do profile income for one more year. That way we don't, well, see, you still have to have the income. I don't know if that's going to change anything. Let's just see here. So now he's 59 and a half across the board. So there's, I don't think it's going to change anything simply because he still needs an income to live on. So let's see, cash flows. And I'm looking for a tax payment. So now we got it right there. So because he still has a net flows and he no longer, just real quick, let's go in accounts. Yeah. Okay. So what's happening is he has to take more distributions out to pay for his cost of living. I mean, so you can see the taxable account is exhausted by 2027. The IRA slash 401k, he's pulling money out kind of big time in 2028, 29, and 30. I'm not quite, it doesn't match dollar for dollar, but I'm going to go with that. That's a 10% penalty. But now the 401k is exhausted, and now the Roth IRA, I mean, I'm telling you, though, my friends, look at that. That sucker's growing by leaps and bounds. Let's just go back to, man, tell me the software isn't awesome. So look at that. He's paying a 6% tax. At 1 year, he's going to pay 12.7% federal tax rate. That just is odd to me, but whatever. We'll just run with it. And then here he's got no taxes at all for the rest of his life. And yet watch his accounts. Look at this. Look at this. We're going to go to cash flow. We're going to go to net worth. Qualified assets. Roth IRA, my friends. Look at that puppy. It is growing by. See what I'm saying right here? Qualified assets includes Roth IRA. That guy is, look at that. Look at that. So even though the analysis says he only has a 48% chance of running of making it, when you're doing a straight line projection, the Roth IRA is growing at 7.5 to 8%. It looks pretty good. But again, you got to look at the analysis of Monte Carlo, run a bunch of different synopses. And here you can see he's running out of money at 92 years old. I mean, that's, again, I don't like that as much as I would like it, because I'd rather have him, not having any median where he runs out of money. But that's not too bad, man. And if we change it to 50, I mean, if he stays at work until he's 50 years old, I mean, it's just going to look strong. Look at that. The medium, he's got, $2 million. So let's go. I mean, so 2 years working. Let's change this back to 48, and we're going to change this to 37.50. So we're going to say you're going to spend an extra $750 less, or you're going to spend less by $250 a month there, Scott and Melissa. Let's see what happens now. Probability jumps up a lot. Watch this. 56%. Well, that's not a lot, but that's pretty good, man. And then if you look at the confidence, the median, half the time he has over $836,000 and half the time he has below. And then lastly, we say just spend $500 a month less for a couple of years, or stay working for a couple more years, and then the probability is going to jump up to 64%. There you go. So if this guy were ready to do it, I would say, why don't you stay on track for another 2 years till you're 50? Absolutely. And then I say, in the interim, start doing major conversions from IRAs, from your 401k to your Roth. That way you can avoid a tax hit in the future. And lastly, I don't think we extrapolate enough from, let's get rid of this income. We're going to get rid of the distributions outright. All right, so just to show you again the difference in taxes, we're going to say nothing. All right, so let's see what we got. So remember, right now we're front loading taxes. Now we're going to back load the taxes. So let's see what we got. And what you see here is the taxes gradually. Now we're 999, and they jump up big time here. Why? That's the widow's tax trap, as I always talk about. So now Melissa's a surviving spouse, and now she's got the fortune to pay 17.5% taxes. So we didn't pay any tax on the front end, but we're paying major taxes on the back end for sure. And at some point, that's going to affect our Medicare, our taxation, and Social Security. How do we know? Well, let's look. We'll look at the details. And we'll fast forward to 2035. So it'll be, 16 years from now. And now we get $82,000. Well, we're not taking Social Security yet. So let's go to 2040 when we're taking Social Security. All right. So now we got, so basically we're paying a tax on 85% of our Social Security. We got IRA distributions of $67,000. We got a pension of $8,400. So our taxable income is $80,000. That's still not going to make our Medicare premiums higher, but you can see we're certainly paying a whole lot more in taxes on Social Security than we did when we're doing the Roth conversion on the front end. Why? Because there is no tax. We're not paying any tax on the back end. So we're not paying any income tax, because any money we need comes out for the Roth, which doesn't hurt our Roth or Social Security or Medicare premiums or capital, anything. It's a beautiful, beautiful thing to behold for sure. The Roth IRA in its all its glory. I love it. And you should too. And then, of course, at the end of the day, here's old Melissa. She's getting hammered. I mean, her tax rate is going up 50% just because she survived old Scott. That's not good. All All right. So lastly, let's just do one other thing real quick. And then we always want to go to the stress test and say, what happens if, and I'll get off here. And so watch this. If we reduce taxes, tax expense be higher by, we'll say, I bet this doesn't change much. Watch this, by 70%. Why? Watch. I haven't run this, so I'm just, why did not change much? Went from 50, went from to 59, 55.9%, let's do 20. So now taxes are going up by 20%. It went from 60% to 55.9. Let's say taxes will not be higher at all. It's not going to change much there either. And I'll show you why. So basically 62% to 55%, when it goes up by 60% increase in taxes, watch the thing. Watch. Why? Why did it not go up? Because his money in the future is from Roth IRAs. Not paying any tax on Social Security, and all the money from the future is coming out of Roth IRAs, which is tax-free anyway. So when you have tax-free income, the tax rate doesn't matter to you. Now, the one thing he would need to be considered is inflation. Watch this. We'll put up to 3.5%. This will be on top of the 3% I'm already using. All right. So we're using a 3% inflation rate. That's your big thing right there. Inflation jumps up, you're going to be in a world of hurt. So we got to watch our backs when it comes to inflation. But that's your big thing right there. That's a 6.5% inflation rate because I'm already using 3%. And now we're saying we're going to add 3.5% to the 3% we're already using. Now, frankly, has that ever happened? Yeah, it happened in the early 70s through the early 80s. Historically, inflation has never been that high. And so I'm not saying it can't, but it's not likely to happen anytime soon. So anyway, Scott, if you're watching, hang it up. I'd wait 2 more years. I'd wait till you're 50, get a couple more years of savings, a couple more years of income behind you. And at that point, you might want to consider selling that rental and then pocketing the money and putting it to work in the markets, simply because the markets have more upside than your cash flow capitalization rate, potentially, but I'll let you decide that for sure. Now, remember, at the end of the day, the markets can fall 50% and your rental income is probably not going to fall that much. And so that is a negative for sure. And we're just showing you linear rates of return when we're using these proposals on what your net worth will look like in the future. But all that being said, maybe you have a vacancy in there. I don't know. So at the end of the day, it's not as bad as you might think, not as bad as we showed yesterday. So as always, my friends, if you like what you see here at Heritage Wealth Planning, don't forget to subscribe. Click the bell to be notified for future content. And then a thumbs up and comments always helpful. So we'll see you next time. Thanks now.